Hello and welcome to this next tutorial in making a top-down shooter zombie-based game in Scratch Free. So we've got our shooter, and our shooter can shoot bullets, which is where I left you last tutorial, and we've even got some sound for our shooter, so that's great. So the next thing we're going to need is our zombie. So we're going to first, you'll need to find a suitable image on Google. Now what you can do is you can actually find like sprite sheets. So if you type in zombie sprite sheet, you can find something like I've got here, where you actually can end up with an animated zombie. Now you'll have to cut out the individual frames of the animation, and you'll also have to make sure they are all the same size, which you can do in most image editing software. So the first thing I'm going to do is just upload the first frame, or the starting frame if you want, of my zombie, and then I'm going to go to costumes. Now under costumes I can now click on upload costumes, and I can simply just go back to my tile view here. Just makes it easier to content view, just makes it easier to select, and I'm going to select all of these, and I moved back to this view to make sure I got them all in the right order for the walking. So boom, there we go. That is my costumes for my zombie done, and as you can see, you can start to see the animation as it will appear in the final bit of code. Right, so we've got that. Let's move on to actually coding our zombie to move around. So what we'll want to start with is we'll want to start him as a clone. Now the reason for that is we want to be able to generate multiple zombies. So the first bit of code we'll put in here is when I start as a clone, we'll want him to show, and then we'll want him to obviously start walking towards our player. So we're going to say forever, and we're going to get him to wait just for like half a second or something, because we don't want him just to instantly sort of appear next to our player. And also we want the transition between each of the costumes to be sort of slightly more gradual, so it doesn't just cycle through at 30 frames per second. So we're now going to go to next costume. So that means it will wait half a second and then it will cycle through the costumes. So the next bit we're going to need is we want him to actually point towards our shooter character. So again, we're just going to go over to the blue tab. So point towards, and point towards obviously our main character, which is shooter, and then we're going to actually want him to move towards him. So we're nearly there. What next thing we're going to need is just create the initial clone. So to do that, again, we'll just use the classic when green flag clicked. And initially we want to hide him. So we only want him to show, once we've generated a clone. So we're going to say hide, and then we want him to create a clone of himself. There we go. So now if we click on green flag, fingers crossed, there he is, and here he comes. And we have him moving towards, so if I move around, he'll actually follow me, which is kind of cool. We can't shoot him yet, that's the next bit of code we'll look into. But yeah, we've got him moving, and we've got him animated. If you look closely, you can kind of see his feet moving underneath. So that's that part. So next thing we're going to need to do, obviously, is if he hits the bullet, we're going to want him to disappear. So we're going to say when he starts as a clone, and we want it to check every frame. So we're going to go forever, and then we need an if statement in there. So if touching, so that's going to come under sensing. So drop that in there. So if he's touching the bullet in this case, we want to delete the clone. So we go back to this section and find delete this clone. And now we start to get a bit of fun, because we can just shoot him. Bless him, poor thing. And again, if we start off, here he is, he's coming towards me, and boom, we have taken out a zombie. So that's nice. We will of course want more than one zombie spawning at a time, so in the next tutorial I'll show you how to spawn multiple zombies all coming in from, you know, random positions so that we can have a little army of zombies to take out. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial today, and in the next tutorial we will make our zombie turn into a horde of zombies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.